Good morning, George.
Good morning in the sunshine. Look at this.
It's very nice,
I
isn't
like
it?
this time of year.
Me too. So where are we and what is this about?
We're standing outside the houses at New Bolsover. New Bolsover is a Grade 2 listed buildings built by the mining company before the National Coal Board was even thought of. Why are we standing here? Because standing here we're in the local community. You can see around us the park, you can see the local school, you can see new building work being done.
Excuse me,
and
let
you
me
can
just go and...
sweep round, that's fine.
Right, okay.
And all this was prompted by a course I'm doing on community journalism. Let me pluck some ideas out of this that prompted me to start thinking about things to stay. Community journalism course is about people becoming, for want of a better word, citizen journalists. In other words, in these days you don't need expensive equipment that sits on your shoulder to make big videos. The world are much more forgiving than that. If you've got people within the local community who are telling news, and that's very important in some countries. I was reading one this morning about one country where the president has got rid of the leader of the opposition, and therefore parading her all around the streets are police officers, and everybody keeps their head very low. In that kind of situation, it's very obvious what the role of citizen journalism, the social media and all that is. It keeps people in touch with each other. It means people don't assume power and be unchallenged.
So,
in our country that's not obviously so necessary.
so what do you mean by social media? Is it your box standard Facebook, or what do you mean by that?
I mean your bog standard Facebook. One of the biggest around the world actually is Russia's version of Facebook, which isn't the same as Facebook, but they have their own. It's not the same in every country. We're talking Facebook, we're talking Twitter, Pinterest, Flickr, and so it goes on and on and on and on. I just discovered one this week called Periscope, which is the individual can broadcast everything. You invite friends around for dinner, you sit down and you broadcast your conversation and other people chip in, whether you would want to do that or not. It's not all necessarily what we had for breakfast this morning. I just baked myself some bacon this morning. Who wants to know that kind of stuff? But there's much more interesting stuff that you can tell the world about. We came down to New Bolsover because that's an exciting story that's happening. Bolsover District Council have just won an award from the National Lottery, from the Lottery Heritage Fund, for something in the region, if I remember right, it would be £80,000. That's to start off what's happening to allow them to start to apply for quote-unquote a full grant. And that's to do things like restoration of these buildings. These buildings are Grade 2 listed buildings. As I say, they were built by the coal company before the coal board was ever thought of. They're over 100 years old, and things like the window frames in some of them are wrong. They're plastic window frames. That's not the way it should be. So all of that kind of work needs doing, and restoration to various bits. But in addition to that, there are already people at work in this community making things happen, listening to the local community. This afternoon, if you come down to New Bolsover at 2 o'clock, you can be part of a treasure hunt. Hey, the community do things together. It's a bit like when I was a kid in Kirkintilloch and Canal Street Social Club did things together, and we all got to know each other, and we all went to the seaside together. Forgive me, but I bathed naked in the beach on the sand.
Oh, George, that is just far
Portobello.
too much information.
Too much information, because we all went off to the beach near Edinburgh, and it's still happening. People in the local community get to know each other. The school is part of the local community. New people coming in get to become part of the local community. If you go around, there's a house, the houses are all numbered. On 157 here is a house that's set aside to be a meeting place for people. So they've got a meeting coming up
What date's the
next
meeting?
week. I think, I'm going off the top of my head, but I think it's next week, where they are meeting together to discuss antisocial behaviour in the area. They're discussing social media being used in the area, and they're discussing a film about the area and so on. That's a big issue in this area, because if you talk to politicians, dog mess and the bins. The bin lorry has just gone past us. The bins, what do people want to say about the bins? And when the bins are collected, when I was interviewing Anne Weston, leader of the county council, somebody said to me, and can you talk to her about the bins? Well, actually the county council don't do the bins, so you need to engage with the county council, the district council, the parish council, and all of those. And all of them have been mostly quite happy to talk to us. We need time to go and talk to all of them, but we need more people who are in a position to go and have those conversations, not just a few of us.
So, you know, we have a presenter that works. Now, he hasn't got time, but he has got experience. But he's also got a lot to say about solar panels. He knows who he is now. But what about the others?
There are people, actually, there are two people watching us at the moment who I think are involved in the local community. Might they want the opportunity to do that kind of stuff? Yes, they would. Do they need... Could they be frightened because they haven't got a great big digital camera? You don't need a great big digital camera. We're doing this on your phone. And on the course, they're busy saying, the people are very forgiving. It doesn't need to be top quality, high class, high definition stuff. We're also talking about using various social... I discovered a term called media mashing, because you sit on the settee and you watch television and you send emails at the same time. will.i.am did it on The Voice. That's called media mashing. When you're doing two of them together, it's called media stacking.
I like that.
It's not you being weird, it's what people do these days. And I know that my son in New York, his wife does the same thing. And us old-fashioned people, it drives us nuts. But actually it's what will.i.am and many others are doing. Let's move to another local area and take a look at another one.
So remind me again where we are.
This time we're in New Bolsover. We need people in New Bolsover to become citizen journalists and come and tell us what's going on in their community.
I'd love that. I'd love to learn what people are doing in their local community.
Let's go and visit another local community then.
Let's go.
Good morning. We're outside Carvale Family Club this morning and looking at the local community here in Carvale. It's enriched with extremely friendly people. We've met a number of these people over in the Carvale Family Club. There's lots of stories, lots of activities, lots of events that take place. It involves the local community. It's absolutely rich with talent and skills. They also have a Facebook page, and you may want to check that out. And the up-and-coming bands, actually, my mistake, they have two Facebook pages. So what's coming up in the near future? Well, obviously this Saturday they've got a band coming here, so they've got live music. But in addition to that, they have bingo and prizes. They have lots to offer. In addition to this, Carvale is also, like New Bolsover, they are building new houses, so the local community is getting bigger, which is absolutely fantastic. So more people are coming into the local community. There's a rich heritage here in Carvale. It's close to New Bolsover. It's close to Bolsover Castle. For those of you who haven't been, shame on you. There is an awful lot happening. Now, like with New Bolsover, we are desperately in need of people that are wanting to go into journalism to talk about their local community and what is taking place for them. You can be any age, as long as you can talk, and obviously, George, you're not supposed to knock the place apart, but realistically, you can do this. We had last year at the Elastic FM Awards night, a young guy that was part of Heritage School actually won an award. Brandon, that's right. Now, hey, it's not for nothing. You've got opportunity to win awards at the end of the year. You've been part of the local community, and more importantly, and the best part about this, you're promoting your community. Tell us your story. Tell us what's going on. We need presenters that go out and meet people, talk to people, but also engaging with the local community.
Can I throw in something again from this journalism course?
Absolutely.
Not everybody necessarily feels comfortable standing in front of a camera, standing in front of a microphone. There are other ways to chip in, to tell stories.
Definitely. Check out the Elastic FM page, email us at the studio, and you can do that by emailing us on studio@elasticfm.co.uk. That is studio@elasticfm.co.uk. Get in touch. We'd love to hear from you.
Go on, prove yourself. You always remember the text number.
You sure can. You can text us on 07415 506 315. Now that number again, if you're digging for a pen or whatever you're doing, it's 07415 506 315. Get in touch with us. Drop us a line. We're there.
Facebook.
Oh, we've got a Facebook page. Absolutely. And check out Facebook, Elastic FM. But there's also, if you're really adventurous and you want to have conversations with the presenters, you can do that by checking out the supporters page. And that is Elastic FM Supporters Group.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that.
You're so welcome.
So here we are in the middle of Bolsover, more Bolsover stories. Behind us, right there, round the Harris fencing, is where the new Bolsover Contact Centre is to be. And that's to do with Morrison's. We're supposed to be moving into the old centre. The District Council moved to Clown, and so they needed some sort of contact centre in the middle of Bolsover. Hey presto, that's it. It's all supposed to be built by Christmas. It's also going to be the local police station. I don't understand how this works. And you've seen all the one where so-and-so just got arrested for murder and he got taken into the police station with a blanket over his head, secreted. How do you do that in the middle of here? I don't know how they park cars, I don't see how they're going to do all of that, but that's what they're working on. Other stories around Bolsover that we need to follow up. Across there is a pub called the Bluebell. The Bluebell, we did an item on because we were a bit worried about it. We wondered if they were going to survive. The Bluebell very much survived this week. We went in there on Saturday or Sunday. I think it was Saturday. Sunday it was. We went in there for a meeting of old Bolsover Pics. Old Bolsover, PICS, short for pictures. This is a group of people gathering together information about Bolsover the way it used to be. what I didn't know, this is set up by a guy called Mick Shannon. What I didn't know is that it's a meeting of a Facebook group. They have a Facebook page, and they actually twice now have physically met in there.
What night do they normally meet in there, George?
I don't know. Go to the Facebook page and put at the top of the page, Old Bolsover pics. All the information is in there, and there are thousands, literally thousands of pictures of Old Bolsover on linked to that page. The Facebook page, the Facebook group, has something approaching 2,000 people liking it. It's used by people all over the world with links to Bolsover. Is another thing that's going on here. If you look over that way, there's another project going on here called the Freedom Project. That's run out of the Methodist Church just on a hilltop. They do all sorts of things. They have been going for a bit. They now have a property in one of the little villages out towards Shirebrook. So they've got more than one place. And they do a number of things like making events available to the local community. They teach people to read. They ensure that people have financial advice and so on. While I'm mentioning Facebook groups, we started this conversation in New Bolsover. There's a Facebook group called Friends of New Bolsover. Friends of New Bolsover, again, has a number of things going on. All the local information is on there. Another item that you and I have been involved with, and again it's tied in with the people who are involved with the Facebook Pics group, is the story about Bolsover baths. And if you talk to the older people in the local community, they will say that land was given and money was collected to build a baths in Bolsover. Once the baths at the bottom of Castle Lane had been closed down, it was decreed there was going to be another baths to replace it. And the people are asking, so where is this? Where are these baths that we were supposed to be having? We see no sign of it and nobody knows where the money's gone. Can I do another one scandal that's local? And we're not outside it at the moment. The job centre is at the other side of Bolsover. When we're talking about these days, people being sanctioned, people who are on job seekers allowance and that kind of thing, who claim benefit, then if they don't jump through a certain number of hoops, they get what's called sanctioned. In other words, the benefit gets stopped. One of the hot spots in the country, one of the top 25 areas for sanctions is Bolsover. When you talk to the Department for Employment or whatever you call them, DWP, they will say that there's no policy to sanction a certain quantity of people. That gets argued. I've seen that argued about on television, where they say, well, there's no official policy, but people in offices are being told, whoa, you're not sanctioning enough people. One of the hot spots, as I say, in the country for people being sanctioned, having their benefits stopped, is Bolsover. Stories are told of how somebody got sanctioned because they had to go on a job interview. So it's argued that all sorts of crazy reasons why people are having the benefits stopped. Another one that was mentioned was people who live in Whitwell. They have to get God knows how many buses to go and sign on. With crazy distances to travel to go and sign on, otherwise they get sanctioned. That's some of the things that we need to follow up.
But George, there is another group, isn't there? CVP?
CVP, Community Voluntary Partners, is the umbrella group for voluntary organisations in Bolsover. Their offices are in Shirebrook. But for example, they've got 4 people who are called senior Coalfields Community Senior Community Organisers, and some of them we work quite closely with: Alison Lloydell, Jess Holmes, Richard Haig, Selena, it works down in a tip shelf kind of area, so we don't see so much of her. Their job is to make things happen, is to listen to the voices of the local community and make things happen. They have a Facebook page as well, Coalfields Community Organisers. Go and look them up and they tell you all the stuff that's going on. So for example, Alison put up a video, she did a link to a video yesterday for a rhubarb farm. Rhubarb farm is a enterprise, a social enterprise in Langwith that caters for people with learning disability, people with mental health needs, people who've been in trouble with the law, and does all sorts of stuff about getting them working on the land and so on. Go and look it up.
Thank you, George.